I'm Sharon Rennert, and I am an editor. I've worked on a lot of documentaries and reality. Honestly, I kind of fell into editing. I knew that I loved storytelling and I wanted to be a director, but at USC I just fell in love with editing and with their documentary and unscripted content. The relationship between an editor and a director is, it's a relationship. So first of all, you need to learn the language that both of you use to communicate, and then you develop a special dialogue between the two of you. And also, you, as an editor, I will listen to what they're looking for. You know, I will hear what the story arcs are, I will hear what the ultimate end goal is of what they're trying to achieve through the story. But then my job as the editor, and why I feel I'm being hired, is to take into consideration what they want and what they're looking for. But then they've hired me to look at the footage and to help elevate even more what they're going for. Less is more, or I say that, or people that I've worked with. Sometimes if you have so much good stuff, then it all just doesn't really stand out. So you need to start subtracting things, and it makes it even more powerful, more interesting, and telling the story. I would say the biggest challenges are the amount of material that you have to sift through. We have to be familiar with all the footage, because when we edit acts together and scenes together, the producers, when they're seeing the overall picture, they'll want to know, like, what else is there that we have that we can work with? You know, what are we missing? Anything important? Something that you may watch in passing and not think much of might become a very important part of the storyline later on. Are editors ever happy with their cut? I would say no. They're never going to be 100% happy. No, because we're all perfectionists, right? So we just have to learn to do the best we can. We're professionals, and you just reach a point where you just know. There's, you know, I don't know if you can. There's no specific criteria, but you know when it's just time to present it to the world. My relationship with Media Composer is probably the longest lasting relationship I've had. I was directing a film at USC, and I was given the choice, do I want to do linear post-production or non-linear post-production? Well, the first time I saw an Avid, I literally heard angels sing. There was like a bright light shining down, and I was just like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever, and I absolutely want to work on this. And I directed my documentary, and my editors that I had, one of them kind of fell through, so I also edited it, and I learned Avid. I learned Media Composer, and one of the things that I loved about Avid back then, that I still love about Avid, is that there's so many different ways you can achieve the same thing. So if you're more of a mouse person, you can do certain things with the mouse. If you're a keyboard person, you can do things with the keyboard. But there's so many different ways you can customize it all to help you be able to do the task at hand. I love match frame. I love mapping the keyboard with my audio mix button is mapped to my keyboard, so I just press that and then it comes up and then I can do mixing. Like, I like that I can keep up with how fast my mind is working through the little tips and tricks. And you're always learning. Even just sitting with another editor for 5 or 10 minutes in their room, it's amazing to see how many different ways editors can do their editing. My advice to people who want to be an editor would be to take initiative, to take advantage of opportunities that come around. You go up above and beyond what's being asked of you in any job. If there's opportunities for you to stay later and learn more and maybe work on projects on the side, take advantage of all those opportunities. They're there for the taking. They're not going to be, don't expect them to be given to you. And just, you know, treat everyone you work with respect, no matter who they are, because your connections that you make now, even students, if you're in school, students that you work with are people that you will be working with 10, 20 years down the road. I would say the skills that make a good editor are your instincts in connecting with people, in connecting with emotion, connecting with how to get a story across and communicate with people what you're trying to say. And some of it is just instinctual, you're just born with it. And then some of it you can learn also. You need to be interested in the material you're working on. If you're working on something that's so boring, then who wants to stand and sit in a room for hours on end cutting boring material? So I love editing, and I love learning about people. I love learning about everyone's stories. Everyone is so unique. So you're always learning something new about the people that you're watching footage of, and also topics, whatever the subject you might be working in when you're editing. There's just always so much to learn and so many fascinating things to see. So I feel like I love it. I'm always learning something new.